Jeremiah, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Tell folks who don't know where you are and what is on your mind.
Hey guys, I am in Champaign, Illinois. Been watching pretty much actually since day one. Heard you from Smirconish, Mark, and been watching since day one.
Thank
And
you.
kind of sad that this is the first time I've called in. I do video for politics, work in the independent world through the years, and wanted to kind of chime in with some fun, video thoughts, Mark, when you had some critiques of the Trump campaign's videos here and there. But I've always held off. But there's been one topic that I just have seen in the news in the past 24 hours that has really kind of horrified me, and just with the just absolute just deluge of just so much stuff in the news that I just don't hear anybody talking about it. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts, especially Sean's. And that is just the whole thing with Trump going after Chris Krebs. Maybe you guys talked about it yesterday. I
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
able to
we
catch
did.
yesterday.
We didn't. What I said yesterday was we didn't make time to talk about it. It's a very important topic, and we just chose not to because there's so much going on. But keep going.
Yeah, it's just, man, it as somebody who has voted for the conservative candidates for the vast majority of my life, this is the kind of stuff that just absolutely just gets me actually like pretty riled up and all this stuff. And I understandably, I totally understand why you guys weren't able to talk about it because of just everything else going on. But if anything else, like Sean, just talk me off the ledge. Tell me
Yeah,
why this isn't a big deal.
Jeremiah, just be a little bit more specific about why it bothers you so much.
And also, can I caveat? Can I add? Are you is equally concerned about Miles Taylor or just Chris Krebs?
Yeah, so I'm concerned about both of them. The Miles Taylor one, though, I guess if I'm trying to put myself in Trump's shoes, could understand that one, I guess a little bit because he was leaking some things and that kind of stuff. But the Chris Krebs one is the one that really is because from my view, he was just somebody who was working in the government, just doing his
Right.
job,
So
and
these
wasn't.
these are two people who worked in the first administration who are now being targeted by executive orders for potential investigation, potential indictment. But Jeremiah, explain why the Krebs thing bothers you so much. I'm sure it's obvious to some, but I just want to hear it in your own words why it's so troubling to you.
Yeah, because from what everything, I mean, because I remember back, in 2020 when he was when Trump was saying, this election is being stolen, it's being rigged, that Krebs wasn't like bashing Trump in public.
Yeah.
He wasn't going out and leaking stuff. He was just a person who was working in the government, doing his job, and just saying, trying to like do his part and saying, to the rest of the public, hey, I'm just, I can just assure you this was not rigged, this was safe, this was everything else. And Trump going after him 5 years later or whatever it is just seems purely just because Trump is, in my opinion, a sore loser and just can't admit that he lost.
Did you vote for
And
Did you vote for Trump?
I did not. No.
Okay. Sean, thank you for that. Sean, can you defend it or explain it away or agree with
Yeah, well, I
Jeremiah?
mean, I think obviously the president has a lot of yeah, what do you want to call them, grudges, rights that he wants to wrong, whatever. I'm intrigued by this only because I don't know that that was top of mind for Donald Trump. I wonder how much someone pushed that. The Miles Taylor one, I agree with you. That's a little different. What he abused his government position. On Chris's thing, and again, I can't say I follow it entirely, but just to put this in context, Chris was the director of the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and where I will critique him a little, again, there's a difference between critique and retribution, is he is not an election expert, and to talk about somehow he using him as a cyber guy and saying somehow he had the authority to go out and talk about election safety is just patently false. He was not an election expert. We don't run our elections off the internet the way that, so he was trying to purport himself to be an expert on something that he is not. And for that, I would critique him. I think obviously somebody believes that or is ginning up the president. And if you look at the EOs, the executive orders on between Krebs and Taylor, there is a distinction between the two in terms of what he's seeking in each. And I'd have to go back and look at them side by side. But the Miles Taylor one was very specific, and you brought this up, Jeremiah, about potential leaks of information and abusing his government privilege. I believe, and I could be wrong because I read it when it came out. The Krebs one seemed more about just taking away his security clearance and things like that, which, again, you got that because of the United States government. So it seemed, and like I said, I apologize if I forgot when I read him. I wasn't prepared for the question, but I think his was there was a difference in how the approach to Krebs was than Miles Taylor.
Dan.
I think it's horrific. I think history will be a really harsh judge of this stuff. Like I'm willing to say where I think Trump has it right and is the establishment is missing it. I think this is one of those where there's just so much terror of him that people won't speak up. But going after law firms like this, going after individuals like this is horrific. It's un-American. And I hope history, because I don't think people today are going to I hope history holds him accountable.
And look, I will say this as somebody who is I forgot the legal verbiage here, but not a target of the Mueller investigation, but had to sit through hours and hours and pay lawyers and paralegals and their lawyers. I wish any of you folks that are now criticizing President Trump had 1 ounce of concern when all of this was going in and sucking up people to testify in front of Congress, to go through Mueller, racking up thousands and thousands of dollars of bills on a friggin' witch hunt. So I appreciate all the critique of President Trump, but I really wish that there had been one voice, during the entire time that Mueller was racking in everybody and congressional hearings were calling everybody up for folly. Those things aren't cheap. They waste a lot of time. They suck up a lot of money. And everybody who wants to express sympathy now was absolutely silent and sat on their hands while that was all going on.
Just as Republicans were silent when my friends in the Clinton administration who didn't have a lot of money had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on legal bills. This
Benghazi investigation.
This practice of saying there's nothing to criticize about what Donald Trump's doing because Democrats did it too is not the way the country should work. They both should be criticized. And anyone in government with the capacity to create legal bills for a private citizen should think twice before they do it. It's just not fair. But it's equally unfair when Republicans do it as Democrats do it. And I hope that people exercise, whatever party they're in, the discretion. And that's true of the congressional investigators too. You have to take into account the lives you will ruin, not just the reputations and fortunes, but literally the careers and ability to function in society of people who are targeted gratuitously for investigation, or in this case by executive order.